Go ahead.
And Dirk Diggler as Brock Landers. How Wes Anderson would do a horror movie on SNL was actually really good.
Yeah, like Wes Anderson does Pulp Fiction. They're out there. It's like AI memes.
He's very specific. Yeah, and it does help. But it did well. Asteroid City, I think it was a limited release, so you're going to get another couple swings at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point I'm going to be like, I want to go watch Wes Anderson be symmetrical today. I just didn't feel it Saturday morning.
It doesn't. Does he feel like a Saturday morning movie? Yeah.
A little bit. He's not a midnight movie.
No, he's not a midnight movie for sure. So that Asteroid City got him $9 million, which was a career high. But like you said, it's strange to think that he's one of the most influential directors, filmmakers of this generation, and he's not known for making big bucks. No. That's okay.
No.
Because we see what happens with big bucks. big bucks attracts dumb boop. And then all of a sudden you have writers going on strike and you have actors going on strike. So he is just like a straight up filmmaker, and he's going to make his film, and that's it. That's like the Joe Rogan interview of Quentin Tarantino. I don't know. Quentin Tarantino probably said this in many, but I just saw it on the Quentin Tarantino. The whole, who's they? They won't let you make this. Who's they? And who are they to tell me? You need the filmmakers that are just not going to buck on their vision.
You need a few.
Yeah, you have to.
Otherwise you end up... Well, here's the thing. What happens when said filmmakers get too much control? Like, how would Wes Anderson do a Netflix movie? Where it's like you can do pretty much anything you want. They don't even check the receipts.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem to work well for like auteur type directors.
No, they need, you know what they need is they need that strong wingman, that strong editor that's going to scale down their vision and not insult them when they say, you know, I got your 4-hour film down to 2 hours and 50 minutes.
Now we can put it in the theater.
Yes. But the He Who Shall Not Be Named story, what's up, Tubes? Of explaining to Quentin Tarantino why he needed to take out that scene. And we're still early, so we're going to keep it non-graphic. Why he needed to take out that scene from Reservoir Dogs. And then he's like, no. And he held his ground. He held his ground on his very first film.
And, you know, he fired one of the actors on his first film.
He did?
The guy who plays Joe, Lawrence Tierney, the old guy.
Yeah.
He fired him on the movie.
Really?
Yeah, because he was being a diva and like being combative. You know, Quentin was 25 or something. His brand new director. His previous job before that was working at a video store. How do you think if you're an actor coming in with 50 years of experience and it's like, oh, this kid worked at a video store, now he's yelling action at you. But anyway, he fired him.
Wow, I did not know that.
Yeah.
He did a lot of stuff. He should be on the cover of The Secret, of just like, how do you create your reality? Because he created his own film reality.
Yeah.
He 100% did. He didn't say, I'll wait till I have a hit before I start being me. He was him from day one.
Yeah, when you know what I realized this, he was doing extended universes before Marvel.
Yeah, it was.
He was doing the Tarantino verse before then. Kevin Smith also gets credit for doing that as well. But he's got his interwoven characters throughout his films. He's got the repeating products, Red Apple cigarettes,
yes,
Big Kahuna Burger. So he was doing that a while. You've got Vince Vega and Vic Vega, they're brothers. You know, Alabama from True Romance gets mentioned in Reservoir Dogs.
Right.
Lots of stuff.
There was commercials for Red Apple cigarettes and a couple other things on the last Video Archives podcast, right?
Yeah.
They were throwing the commercials in there. And now that you say that too, yeah. Kevin Smith was the first time I heard anybody put whatever universe they're going to talk about before the title and then put verse behind it. Because the View Askewniverse is, like you said, the very first
one.
one.
View Askewniverse.
Yeah, that they actually called it out. And he's still going. He loved Flash. Did you watch his Fat Man and Beyond podcast? I watched it.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it. Flash is a very likable movie.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to dislike, I think. I mean, except for the cheesy effects, but it was a good movie. I found it entertaining, and it's just, I think this movie just had a scent to it, and people were just not attracted.
You think groupthink affected it?
What do you mean?
That, like you said, once it's in the zeitgeist of this is not a good movie, there's enough headlines that said this is not a good movie, and just scared people away that said they'll wait.
I don't know. It's something like that, but I feel like part of it comes from the fact that Warner Brothers tried so hard to convince us that it's a good movie, that people saw it and were like, nah, it's not really. You know? That's just the nature of folks.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, it wasn't a perfect movie, but there are way worse comic book movies out there than that. I enjoyed it. And maybe it was made for us because I enjoyed every part of Michael Keaton being on screen. All of it. I was ready for him to come back. And you heard the bad news about Michael Keaton?
What, he's not coming back?
Well, what Kevin Smith said, that one of the producers was home watching the receipts because they said if it made 120, I think was the number it needed to make on that first weekend, they were going to greenlight Batman Beyond with Michael Keaton. So we were going to get more Michael Keaton as Batman.
Yeah. What did it end up making? I don't remember.
It was 55 in the first weekend, and then it dropped to it's 15 in this second one. So, and again, I'm going by domestic. I can give you the cumulative.
I should have queued up some photos for this. People are tuning in. I thought this was about Indiana Jones. They're talking about the Flash and Wes Anderson.
It's coming. Yeah, we're going to talk about Indy. It's up to 210 worldwide.
So real quick, for everybody who doesn't want to didn't waste their for everybody who decided not to go see the Flash and doesn't know what happens. I mean, I think we could give the quick breakdown now. We're we're past spoiler territory here.
Oh yeah,
no one's going to see it. They're giving tickets away now.
Yeah,
they're giving free tickets away to the Flash. But if you don't even want to muster up the effort to go get a free ticket, pretty much the Flash is Barry's getting a sandwich, right? He needs a high-calorie sandwich. Batman is in trouble in another city. What city is the Flash in?
Capital City.
He's in Capital City. He's got to get there, but he has to eat a sandwich before then. So then he goes. He doesn't get the sandwich, which is an important plot point.
No, he does not.
I thought this would be a faster breakdown. Sorry, I didn't realize the plot was so complicated.
Peanut butter, honey, raisin with cheese.
Yeah.
On a croissant was his sandwich. But yeah. It was just, again, it's sad to see that it all fell apart, and we know it was because of PR. But this, yeah, it wasn't the biggest drop of the second weekend.
No, it was.
It was.
It was the biggest in history.
Oh, so it hit over that 70%.
Yeah, no, got 81.
Oh man,
it's the biggest drop in comic book movie history since they started keeping track of those things.
So it dropped. So what was it? Ang Lee's Hulk. Catwoman was another one that had a big drop, which, by the way, Ang Lee's Hulk, I think, is due for another watch. Have you watched that lately?
No, not in a few years.
I think it just hit its 20th anniversary or something. It just hit a pretty big anniversary, a milestone, because it came out hot after Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. But we were just talking about this a little bit before the show, and we're going to get into this with Indy because this affects Indies too. When you just need to give the directors and just let them go to town. And that's exactly what Ang Lee did. He just went to town and he made What If Ang Lee made The Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
And I need to go back and rewatch it. But I was reading about it and I was like, yeah, I really need to watch it. I own it. Why don't I watch this? But they said it was just too dark.
It was it had a weird tone. I don't really recall a lot of it.
I remember the comic book tiles, and I remember trying to make it feel like a tile. I remember Phil Dunphy from Modern Family being in there. Didn't she show? Oh no, or is he in the second Hulk? No, this was the Nick Nolte one when he was Absorbing Man, where Nick Nolte literally got arrested. His mugshot floated around the internet, and then look like that.
Yeah.
And he just walked on.
He's looked like that in every role since.
Yes.
I don't think he's ever changed his gimmick after that.
Oh man, that's sad. But yeah, we'll rewatch that and do a retro review. But R.I.P. Flash box office. I thought it was strange that the news that we got today was James Gunn is going to be in the next couple of days announcing who is going to be playing Superman.
Yes.
What's the strategy on this?
Well, they've got to change the narrative because, like we were talking about before we went live, it's the zeitgeist can change, and even people who don't really follow it that well, it'll just get into the ethos that comic book movies are lame now.
Yeah.
We don't want to see them.
It's there.
Yeah. So
let's be fair. I think it's there.
It's definitely there.
Yeah.
But, every once in a while you get a Across the Spider-Verse where it's just yes, Now we're doing something different with the medium and like telling stories again. But then the Flash, which was, I don't know that it could have been any better. It was like pinnacle commercial popcorn fare. It's exactly what DC's been trying to do for 10 years.
Yeah.
Since Man of Steel, and then they tried to overcorrect. This is it. And it was, people were just not into it. It had too much bad press and too much good press. You know? Why did they book Tom Cruise to come watch it and say how great it is?
Yeah, I was like, no.
He's not doing movies with Warner Brothers.
No, I didn't understand that. I knew Stephen King, right? Because it made sense, right? Because Andy Muschietti did It. So that
only kind of makes sense.
They were buddies.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know why Tom Cruise got pulled into it.
And then they screened it so long ago, it just was cooking in people's minds. I think people probably felt like maybe it already came out. You know? Because people that aren't really paying attention, not everyone is counting down for the next movie to arrive.
No.
Going to the first show on a Thursday afternoon, you know what I mean?
No.
People are just like, oh, that's out? Oh. I might see that in 3 weeks.
Yeah, you're right.
So, yeah, I think it was a combination of that. Were we talking about Flash, or did I swerve it off?
No. We were talking about James Gunn talking about this.
Oh, right,
but I was
exactly.
And I was going to read
yeah.
it.
Jason, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. See again.
No, tell me, because I'm going to pull up an image.
Okay, let me get this. So I'm going to read this quote from James Gunn talking about DC. He said, "We're going to be very careful with the product that we put out and making sure everything is as good as it possibly can be. People," and I'm assuming he means filmmakers or studios, "have gotten really lazy with their superhero stories, and they have gotten to the place where, oh, it's a superhero, let's make a movie about it. Oh, that did pretty good, let's make a sequel." They aren't thinking about, why is this story special? What makes this story stand apart from other stories? What is the story at the heart of it all? Why is this character important? What makes the story different than that it fills a need for people to go to theaters to see it? That's pretty spot on. Because we know freaking Hollywood, man. That fickle bee. Nobody wants to be first. Everybody wants to be second. So they just got lucky with Kevin Feige putting out so much quality content for so long that they just assumed anything that was a comic book movie was going to be great. And that's just not the case. What's up, Anthony? Aliens, peace signs, right back at you.
Yeah, I think they. The first like 10 Marvel movies are great, right?
Yeah.
But they're at like movie 35. Things tend to get stale after 35. 35,
Yeah.
attempts. So, I think he's spot on. But the thing is, do people want to hear that?
No, I think.
And who is that directed at? Is that directed at the makers of The Flash?
Yeah. He's got to be real. I mean, he was already getting so much heat.
It's like he was pushing it, and now he's trying to separate from it, which I guess is smart PR-wise, but still.
It just sucks. Like, James Gunn, to me, every movie that I've seen of his has been great. So when you see him on the internet picking fight, getting there and talking, I don't want him to be booked as a heel. But it seems like he's saying what he wants to say. And some people are going to take it the wrong way. And we were just talking about this with Quentin earlier. He was just him. And I feel like James Gunn is just being him.
Yeah.
But it's a why are comic book movies such a volatile place to exist?
It's just a thing about what they mean to people. Like, it's just different. Like, I feel like people can identify with a movie IP or a comic book IP as they're like becoming who they're going to be. You know what I mean? As they're growing, they identify with this. It becomes a part of their personality,
Correct.
almost their development. It's got this almost unmeasurable importance or unquantifiable, And then if you do something different with that IP, they take it personally.
Very. And I think what's funny is just like you can't throw this away as just movies, just film, just entertainment. This is stuff, comic books, pro wrestling, whatever you want to do. This is the replacement for a lot of people that were having a lot of turmoil within their family. That's got to be one of the reasons. So now, like, if you have somebody who's an introvert, maybe they were getting bullied at school, whatever you want to call it, insert childhood issue here. And then your escapism is to go into your room and read every version of the Sandman or Spider-Man. And then it's in your head. And now you find out something that a childhood love is being brought to the feature. And if you do that wrong, then you get stuff that George Lucas to sell Star Wars, because he's like, no, I didn't destroy your childhood. But they just take it that way. You're right.
Yeah.
But it's just because, man, you nailed it earlier. It's just like this is more than just an escape for some people. It is a part of them. It's their family. It's a piece. It's their limb. It's something, and
it's their comfort.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's their inner strength. They identify with something, you know?
So it's tough for him to do that. So I get where he's coming from, you know, and I trust him as a filmmaker, even with the marketing fluff of this is the best superhero movie of all time. I he was trying, but it was a good enough film where he wasn't that way far off. It was still a really good movie.
Did you think it was the best superhero movie of all time?
No.
Did you think it was in the top 5?
No.
No?
Top 10.
Top 10 maybe?
I can put him in top 10, but not top 5.
Yeah.
That's got to be hard. But there were moments in there, and that could be just very specific to me, of being alive when Batman dropped in 1989.
Yeah.
If that was a different Batman, maybe we're not having that conversation. But to hear that score and to see Michael Keaton, yeah, it hit all the nostalgia for my age bracket for sure.
I would have liked to have seen him drive the car. Why did they only tease the car?
Yeah, that was a little strange. There was a few things they could have tweaked it, which is another reason why it's not in the top 5. There's people are complaining about the cameos. I was fine with the Nicolas Cage and Christopher Reeve. I thought they missed some cameos. Like, why wouldn't you cameo, you know, Wesley Shipp, who played the Flash in the TV show, or Grant, who plays Flash in the current show, or Wonder Woman, who was in it? Like, why wouldn't you show Linda Carter? Like, they could have addressed that in a certain way. Like, it was cool to see Nicolas Cage. Maybe we didn't need to see him 3 times.
How about Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher could have made a cameo?
Man, yeah.
That would have been special.
There was a lot of there's a different cameos that they could have, and apparently there was a lot that got cut. So again, there's a lot of reasons in here it wasn't the perfect film.
I think also a big factor is, aside from their legal troubles, Ezra Miller was never really over as the Flash.
No, yeah.
And this was the one that was supposed to get him over.
And it didn't.
Because everybody had decided on them.
Yeah, he was signed. So what happens to Ezra now? Like, they just discard, because they were guarding him and they were probably taking care of him. He obviously is having a lot of mental health struggles.
Yeah.
I think he should just stop acting and go fix itself.
It's a they.
So fix themselves.
Yeah,
for sure. I think that's what they need to do now. Don't worry about filmmaking. Just go take care of yourself as a human being.
I mean, that's great, but man, you got to work.
Yeah, I know.
There's not a lot of work for former actors.
No.
I think they are going to have to go away and get their things all their issues in order. And Hollywood loves to come back. They will book an indie movie at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And start just moving back up the ranks, and
if they get fixed,
get a good PR team behind you. I think they could be back.
Oh.
It could work.
It could.
But
what about sticking on the James Gunn thing and changing the narrative in the Superman casting? You told me one of them. You told me the projectionist from Pearl.
Yeah, this is.
Do you know some of the front runners?
David Cornsweet here. This guy right here.
Yeah, he's got the look. He's got the look.
I think he's the front runner, and I don't remember who the other one is.
Not Nicholas Hoult from Renfield, or was he trying to be Lex Luthor?
Lex Luthor, I believe.
Oh, he's trying to be Lex Luthor.
Yeah, and then the front runner for Lois Lane is the young lady who plays the fabulous Miss Maisel on Amazon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think she'd be great.
Those are good.
Yeah.
Those are good.
Yeah. I think solid casting. It'll be fine. It's just a matter of, I think, it's more of a matter now of controlling the narrative,
Yeah.
I mean, Marvel is having the same thing. They got to control their narrative.
Yeah.
Their movies have been hit or miss for the last couple of years.
No, they're
And I think their later movies are not aging well. No one's going back and watching Shang-Chi over and over.
no.
No one's watching Black Widow over and over. It's just, I think that those movies are kind of like, yeah, they're not having the impact that they used to.
It was a special time, like when that Infinity Saga was hitting right. It was a special time, and it was twice the height. Sometimes is double the fall. But I think the genre as a whole is about to go through a dark period, and we were talking about this earlier a little bit with first Hall H. Marvel canceled Hall H, and now you told me all studios are canceling Comic-Con.
Yeah, I think all studios are out. No one's doing anything. They may. I think there's a rumor they're holding out that they might do a Warner Brothers panel because they do need something.
Yeah.
They need something. But the Warner Brothers panel would be very minimal, like James Gunn.
Just go there and just yell at people.
Yeah.
That sounds like an Onion article. James Gunn shows up at Comic-Con, yells at people.
Takes fights with birds and anybody dressed in a DC costume.
Well, they're talking about, I wonder if they're rushing this Superman announcement. Just, why don't you save that for Comic-Con?
I think that's it. That's an option. But if the actors go on strike, you can't bring
it's over.
You can't bring your announced actor with you.
Which, let's face it, they're going on strike, dude.
Sounds like it.
I don't see. We were talking about this a little bit earlier. I don't see any way out of the writer's strike.
Well, what's funny, if you notice, you don't watch regular TV, there's a lot more A-list actors doing commercials in the last month or two.
Oh, really?
What's his name? Brian Cox, who played the dad in Succession.
Yes.
Just did a McDonald's commercial.
Oh, God. I need work.
Yeah. I mean, can you blame them?
No.
If they're about to go on a break, they need some cash. And then, those commercials definitely pay residuals.
What is going to happen with Hollywood, man? This is the unprecedented times.
Tarantino says that it's almost over.
Hollywood?
He says Hollywood's not going to be around that much longer. He says, I'm going to last longer than Hollywood is.
Really?
Yeah.
And man, he's a historian. He knows.
He does. Yeah.
Well, again, like you said, this is unprecedented mediums that nobody truly understands, because you're talking about streaming, which is pretty new. Like it's always been around in the past like 15 years, but this, like after post lockdown, streaming became a whole different word than what it used to mean. And AI, which people don't even understand, period. Like nobody understands it. Like there's artists that are flipping out over Disney using it for the Secret Invasion opening credits.
Yep.
And it's set. If you watch the show, it's very fitting. It fits. It's because all AI looks creepy, and the whole idea is like you don't know who's real and who's not real. It's like the perfect place to use AI. I don't think AI should replace everything, but in that specific case, I see it as an artistic choice. But in this very fragile time, the timing, Disney didn't read the room. They didn't care.
It was free.
Yeah.
So that's I think that's at the final. I think that maybe, I don't know that it was an artistic choice. I got to be honest. I feel like maybe that was a a time and money saving measure. And by the time they realized that would be a bad idea, they didn't have anything ready to go.
Oh no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. I mean, again, that's why they're going on strike, because they're trying to figure out, it's a really big pie. How much of a razor blade do you need to cut to share with everybody?
Yeah.
Now the writers and the actors, like the days of residuals, or
Yeah.
is that over? Is this the end of residuals as we know it?
Why don't we see the whole thing the thing is in flux, because as streaming got huge, like you said, during the pandemic, but as we're past that, and I hope we don't get dinged by YouTube for saying that out loud, but now that we're past that, now we're seeing that a lot of the companies overextended themselves on streaming, and they're really, oh wait, we should go back to putting movies in theaters and selling them for $15 a ticket. That's way better.
Yeah.
Than giving them away for free. What's up, Mike?
Mike, what's up? Oh yeah, Mike said it was done by an effects studio. Artists at the studio chose to use AI. Yeah, It felt like a choice. It did feel like a choice.
But I think that you're probably right that by the time it aired, they might have felt, maybe we shouldn't be doing this. Since everybody's striking over this at the moment.
Right. And I don't know what's going to happen, man. I worry.
I could also see that as like a production company pitching it to a studio and be like, we're going to do it with AI. It's going like this. And it's like, for them, it's a cost-saving measure.
Cost saving for sure. Do you think there's anybody that did it as a testing the waters?
I'm sure the waters are being tested like in all kinds of fronts. I heard that there's like they're developing an AI, or they're trying to get it to going where it would be the AI script reader to get rid of the whole script reading stuff.
Oh my God.
And then the AI will give you the feedback on the script.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. Everything is just gonna be flipped upside down. Our future Dos Incredibles studio is going to be like the underground studio for people who just want to watch old stuff that was made by humans.
It's going to be full of cassettes.
For humans, by humans.
Yeah.
I think what's going to happen, did you hear the story that editors released 2 different copies of Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse in theaters?
Now, why did that happen? Was it because of the audio edits?
That's what I thought. Pump up the volume. That's right. We're going to snack the airwaves. Christian Slater. Yeah. I thought it was because of that. But do you think that somehow, because of the sound edit, they made a few more changes just to put that in the wild?
I feel like, I don't know how it works up in the production booth. I've never worked in the new, sort of like digital era. So my assumption is that they've got their projector's hooked up to a computer, which is downloading the file, which plays the movie, right? It's got to be something like that.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So it's possible that if they updated the file, if they're updating the file on the regular, other movie theaters are playing the older file or something like that, right? That's how I see it.
It has to be. And
what was the differences in the movie?
There were small differences, but, there were small differences. I don't think there was artistic. I don't think it was like Clue where you got 3 different endings. But my point I was going to go to, going back on the AI is, I think when the waters get tested, you're going to accidentally be exposed to AI. It's literally going to be the old commercial where you're soaking in it and like you didn't realize you're going to watch it. Because I haven't actively. The only AI that I've watched, AI media, is the stuff that you've shared with me. I've never actively went out looking for any. So what's going to happen is they're going to sneak it into something and you didn't know that half that movie was shot, by AI or for AI, and you're not going to realize that you even watched it.
Like I said, I think where it's going to be apparent first, where you may have already seen it and you don't know it, is in documentary type stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me show you this. Wait, I can't find a good image.
Oh, Mike said, yeah, New Rock Stars did a video recapping. It was mostly small dialogue and pacing changes.
I can't find a good image of this, but I was watching a documentary, a YouTube documentary. I don't know what, just a video, and it was talking all about how at some point in time, Chris Farley was going to be in the new Ghostbusters.
Oh, you told me about that.
And so this documentary was using AI to create images of Chris Farley as a Ghostbuster.
As a Ghostbuster?
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, wow, that's crazy. And then we're like recreating story beats. It's like, oh, the movie was going to be about them going to hell. So that it's Chris Farley as a Ghostbuster in hell. That kind of stuff. I think you're going to see it first. And it's going to be in like legit things, right? Where they're doing a documentary of the history of the Alamo and they're going to use AI to create original imagery to tell you that story. Yeah.
And that may feel a little less threatening to Hollywood as we know it, right? If you're using it for that type of educational purposes, where I think that's a slam dunk for AI. I don't think anyone's going to be. Well, it is going to take people's jobs.
Yeah, Chris Farley.
Oh my God, that's terrifying looking.
No, they can't. It's still not getting the eyes right. The one I saw was better than this, but this is AI Chris Farley as a Ghostbuster.
So other than like his squid fingers and his eyes, I mean, everything's pretty on point.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, the eyes don't work. I mean, it's definitely uncanny valley.
We're close though.
Demon Farley.
I mean, AI just
Demon Farley.
AI came out like 5 weeks ago, and
Yeah.
it's already come this far.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're going to see it in these documentary type things first, and that's just going to be accepted because why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you use AI to recreate historical imagery like that?
Yeah.
And then from there, it's just like, well, why don't I use AI to create a magazine cover or something, a photo for an article, for a news article, and it'll just start seeping in like that. I think that's going to be the first place it hits, and then by the time it gets to the movies, it's going to be so inundated in our lives.
And it's gonna. That was pretty much the premise of Joan is Awful, right?
It is a Demon Farley. Look at this. I mean,
who's that behind him? That's another Farley?
No, I think that was supposed to be Dan Aykroyd, but I'm not sure.
I remember I thought you told me about this, and I was like, let me go find this, and all I can find was a young Chris Farley as a fan sitting in the crowd at Oprah watching a Ghostbusters 2 panel.
What?
And that's all I found. And it was funny. He was like doing looked like a fake cheer, but it was a real cheer. Did you find? I was going to say.
I'm going to find it.
Yeah, it was Oprah. He was just in the crowd cheering on Ghostbusters 2 panel that was on Oprah for whatever reason. I guess that's how they used to pump movies back then. But I don't know, man. Do you think there's, I mean, and now we're starting to get into ethical stuff, and then we're starting to get into social injustice kind of stuff. Is there going to be a form of bigotry or race and whatever you want to call it that's anti-AI movies or any anti-AI media? Like, is that going to start coming out? Especially now with Hollywood is going to have to band together, which is why the actors are going to go on strike, and to join the writers, they're going to have to band together. They're going to have to start the propaganda of like support human films, don't watch AI stuff. Are we going to get to that point, or do you think people are just not going to care?
I think a certain demographic of people are not going to care.
You think no matter what?
I think so, yeah, because it's just entertainment, right?
Yeah.
Wait a minute, hold on. Here is
Oh God!
more AI Chris Farley as Ghostbusters.
What are his teeth doing?
AI assisted by Andy Goots. Look him up. He's probably got this stuff somewhere. But yeah, there was a whole thing.
Oh man, I don't know about that.
I mean, I could see people turning against AI, but it's going to be the nerds like us who are just going to be like, I only watch movies made by human hands. I'm not going to watch an AI whatever. And it's like, yeah, but we just made an AI Smokey and the Bandit sequel. Sure, you don't want to see it?
It's like, oh, okay, there we go. Oh, Mike and I have been talking about this over text a little bit. He's like, these writers should be using the time to strike to hone their AI prompts and processes. The whole thing of just like the dusty roads of like the computer took your job, daddy. Now it means more than ever during hard times. But the whole idea was it eliminates old jobs and creates new jobs.
I mean,
right?
Mike's right. It's like start learning how to use AI to write your scripts.
Yeah.
That might be a good idea because everyone's going to use it. Like, it's going to be top to bottom. They're going to have to change the way people go to school.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, man, yeah.
It's going to have to change. It's going to change everything. So maybe if you are a writer currently in the WGA, maybe learn how to do AI and you'll write like 100 scripts a year.
Just think about how much Google changed going to school, right? It used to be just for research. Just researching used to be so Dewey Decimal old school. It just changed everything. Now you didn't have to memorize things because, like, why am I going to take the time to memorize it when I can say, hey, Siri, how do you spell relief? Mm-hmm. Let's see. No, she didn't listen. I was hoping they would have did the ROLAIDS. But yeah, that changed everything. So I can't even imagine AI, which is going to be more what do we need to learn now? Like,
It's like, hey, AI, can you write a paper for me about the Spanish Inquisition for my class?
oh man.
And I need it instant. Sure.
Sidebar, can you ever say Spanish Inquisition and not think of Mel Brooks? I know that's impossible for me.
I always think of Mel Brooks and not Monty Python, which is
The Inquisition, what a show, The Inquisition.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah.
Yeah, it just comes to mind. But anyway, yeah. Mike, you're 100% right. You know, I think you're gonna have to take a time to not start the narrative of for and against and look at it binary and just get more kind of like how are we gonna live in this world? Oh, yeah. How does the Metal Gear Solid movie fit into this equation? Well, I think it fits really well. I think this is gonna probably greenlight this. This might help a lot of those projects that were stuck along, right?
I mean, yeah.
If
But
they
the
were
thing
stuck
is,
in
the thing
development
is,
hell.
all these unions are intersected, so they can't. If they're already having trouble because the writers can't work, and if it's unionized, you can't like just change the script yourself.
No.
You know, it's all like, I can't even imagine what the rules are. I've worked in the union house trying to do like AV setups, and like you just can't touch the equipment at all.
No.
It's like, but I'm doing the show and I'm working the show. It's like, nope, you can't touch nothing.
No.
So I don't even know. So it's different. But like, oh, by the way, here's Chris Farley at the Oprah show.
Oh yeah, that's it. That's not AI. That's real Chris Farley.
That's real Chris Farley at an Oprah episode for Ghostbusters. I mean, of course, who didn't like Ghostbusters? It's a great movie.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I lost the thread. What were we talking about?
No, we were just talking about. There's so many rules that are set up with these unions that you can't touch anything.
Exactly.
But this house of cards could come crumbling downward to the point where, like, do they just stop working with the unions? Because now it gets to the point where we have they didn't have options before. You needed writers, you needed this, and they're trying to, at the same time that hopefully they're trying to negotiate, but they could be trying to basically find a way to eliminate all these jobs where we don't need you.
Well, the people that are striking are the people that live off residuals. The day raiders are not striking. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Directors Guild struck a deal, right? They didn't go on strike. Because Directors Guild, that's a lot. It's not like just Tim Burton, whatever, and Martin Scorsese and that. It's like a bunch of day raiders, assistant directors. You know what I mean? Producers. Like there's other people in the DGA that are not getting residuals. They work on a weekly kind of deal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that it's really about the studios not wanting to give up more money in residuals and the people who work wanting more money in residuals. Because the studios are trying to eliminate that. Since streaming upended everything, they were able to change the rules, you know?
Yeah.
And now they'll have instead of trying to, like, it takes a certain amount of time to write a show, they'll write it in half the time. And they're like, oh, because it's a streaming show, it doesn't really, there's no rules as to how long this takes.
Yeah.
Something. But anyway, it's going to go on for a while. I think it's going to go on for a while.
It feels like it. It feels like there's not, like, when there's no news, I feel like that's worse. Like they're not even close. I feel like they're not even close. And now this is a power move by the WGA to bring SAG into this, right? To just like they're not listening, and the unions have to unionize and stick together to bring that strength.
Well, yeah, because they're still attempting to shoot stuff, but if the actors go on strike, if that shuts everything down. It has to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess animation exists outside of that, but all movies are going to shut down. That's why they're rushing to shoot Deadpool 3 so fast.
Oh yeah, they are.
They just want to shoot it all, and then the thing is, like, Deadpool has a mask on, so they can just ADR him later. And I'm sure they can do some deep fake to anybody's mouth and change what they say. But they're just trying to get it in the can, so they have something to show. I think the last time there was a huge strike like this, that's when we saw the rise of reality TV. And everybody was like, they started cranking out those Bachelor and all those network shows, and you had game shows made a comeback for a while. So I think in this era, I don't know, is it going to be the AI, the rise of the AI movie, the rise of, I don't know, will indie content start getting more of a look? Are they going to go to these YouTubers who are not in the WGA and be like, hey, can you crank me out a movie about whatever your YouTube page is about? Whatever it is you're doing, can you make this into a show for me?
Yeah.
And here's some money. And by the way, you don't get any rights to the residuals, but here's some money for now.
And people will take that. Here's that money for now.
A bunch of TikTokers to go make content, right?
Yeah.
For your channel. This could be that.
I think it is going to happen. I think you're right. It's gonna all the systems of control are gonna come crashing down, and it's gonna become Wild West again. And this isn't gonna be non-union actors crossing lines or non-union writers. This is gonna be people that aren't even in the industry, because the industry was so closed off before. But now what is entertainment? What is entertainment? I don't know. It depends on what screen you're watching on. Is that what determines entertainment? Big screen, phone screen, laptop screen? Like, what is entertainment?
I mean, it's whatever you're watching.
It could just go to anywhere. It just hit me the other day, and I think it was here, in Dose Incredible Studios, and you look at the TVs, and it used to be such a big deal when you'd see, like, whoa, this person's on TV, because you didn't know where it was coming from. It was like Fuguzi. It was just coming from the air, and somehow you're on that TV. And now, what does that even mean? It could be coming from any number of input. Does it even matter? So not only the input doesn't matter, anybody can put something on TV. Now it could anybody can make something that's TV worthy.
Well, also, any person can be famous in an instant by shooting something on their phone.
Yeah.
Like, instant. Maybe not forever, but for a day or two, you'd be for a day or two you could be world famous instantly by accident.
Yes.
Just filming something on your phone, right?
Yeah, they're starting here's to show how right you are and how fast this is happening. They're starting to have anniversaries for famous viral participants. Like it was like recently, like I think the 10th or 15-year anniversary of the grape smusher lady, who just like, remember she cheated on the news and she fell forward and went, ow, 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 ow. Like they're having anniversaries for memes.
Yeah.
Like this is This is
It's
real.
only been 10 years since that meme? That seems like an older one.
Yeah, it might be older. It might be like 20, but like we're having meme anniversaries is something else. And they were famous, and some of them didn't want to be famous. Like she was like on Reddit, she wanted nothing to do with that. It's like, of course you were trying to cheat, but that's besides the point. But like, you have to be okay with, in a way, when you go viral, unless you're doing some crazy trick, you almost have to be okay with the world laughing at you. And who is actually okay with that?
I mean, that's kind of the gimmick. That's kind of the job.
Yeah.
It's hard to be cool in a viral video.
Yeah, no, it's really like, unless you're doing some kind of like trick that you would see on Ripley's Believe It or Not, or, Jim Rose's Sideshow Circus. It's hard to be cool. I was watching, and some of them don't care. Maybe this next generation doesn't care. The girl setting up for that one made a comeback for some reason this week. She's setting up the camera and she backed up and then she went, ow, and it sounded like a song. So then everybody was picking different songs to her saying ow. And I
don't know that one.
Oh, we'll find it and share it. It's great.
But going back to what's going to happen now with the strike, Mike says, I expect a rise in licensing to a wider array of companies to increase merch revenues. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything to make money. They're all Warner Brothers is like hemorrhaging money. They might sell Batman, I heard.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
They might sell Batman to Sony or something like that, or part
all of DC, or just trying to.
They're trying to figure that out, what they can sell off.
Wow, so just maybe a character. Go back to what Marvel was trying to get the rights to back to everything. Maybe just license out something else.
That'd be dope. Then you can get a Spider-Man and Batman movie.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God.
Come on. I'd want to see it.
Elon Musk will buy Batman. Elon Musk, I guess we can talk about that a little bit.
He could easily. Maybe he'd do it just to be a heel.
Just buy Batman and do nothing. And then turn his cowl like different colors.
Just to assume the identity of Batman.
Just to jack with people.
Yeah.
You think Elon Musk versus Zuckerberg will make money on pay-per-view if they really do fight, or you think they're going to fight in a warehouse like any which way you can and not show anybody?
Philo Beto.
Yeah, Philo Beto.
I don't know. I have zero interest in that.
Yeah.
I hope that the hurricane strikes wherever they're fighting.
Yeah, when billionaires. Yeah, I didn't know. Like, I just didn't even understand the purpose of that. That made me feel like that we're truly living in a simulation. That is even happening. Like, what happened to the billionaires that just live in the dark and you don't even know who they are? You don't even know who's running.
Let's go back to millionaires with a top hat and a monocle that just step over you on their way to the ball or something. I don't need these millionaire geniuses all up in my grill trying to tell me what to think. Just ignore me.
Just go back to a monocle and a top hat.
The Monopoly guy.
Oh man, I don't. Well, we'll see, man. We'll see what Hollywood. We're a couple of days away, I think, from the strike, and if that happens, it's going to be a cruel summer next summer, right? Films,
I don't know,
shows we'll be seeing.
If they crank out the AI Smokey and the Bandit sequel, it might not be so bad. we get the actual Smokey and the Bandit Part 3 we never got.
Yeah, which we almost did. What survives? Like Mike was talking about the licensing for merch. Like merch doesn't go away.
Yeah.
Right? But now you're going to still merch in a way. Merch is kind of heavy on nostalgia, but even more current nostalgia, right? Like you want to rep a brand. What else is going to, like, we know, like you said, script writers could be gone, writers could be gone, like actors, that's, I guess, TBD. Editors, like, can AI edit? Because editing is art.
Yeah, no, I don't think the AI can edit yet. You still need probably some objectivity in there.
Right.
So that'll be around. But it might be a computer operating an AI editor, a person operating an AI editor.
Man, so that's what Mike was talking about, just like learning prompts to try to be a pilot.
Studios would be better off than theaters, totally. Theaters are going down. Kevin Smith, now that he's a theater owner, always complains about how awful it is to own a theater. He's really putting me off of wanting to do that because he just is like, it's a money pit, and it's impossible to make money.
Yeah.
He does have a theater somewhere in New Jersey.
New Jersey, yeah. He's Smodcast.
Maybe it's not a good location. I don't know. We should go out there. We should go check it out one time.
I did. I was actually.
Oh wait, did you go by there?
No. I was going to go there because it's probably like 40 miles from Jack's school.
Oh, maybe
it's pretty close.
when you're out there, you should maybe.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go check out all.
I'll come out. Tell me when it is. I'll come out. We'll hit it because that'd be. Okay.
Yeah, that would be fun to go back and do that.
Bring Lucciolati out to New Jersey.
I want to see what, like you said, what's going to happen with theaters. Have always been threatened that this is it. This is it. They're doomed. And I feel like this is the closest it's ever been to, like, wow, for them to survive, it's going to be a razor thin margin. Like, we know they're going to survive in the sense because they're revival theaters, right? They're never going to go away. They're going to be somebody that wants to leave the house. That was always the thing. Like, if kids wanted to make out, they have to leave the house, you know, and that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, I know.
You know, I think they'll always be it's going to be more gimmicky, or it's going to be like, Alamo can't be struggling, are they? Because how much they charge. Like, you can't go in and buy like a pretzel and a beer to go see a movie, and you're dropping $30.
And now with the automatic tip, which I don't mind, I'm fine with the automatic tip. But when you get that bill, it's like, what? You're just taken aback. It's like, oh, you would have added the tip anyway. Probably would have come up to that.
Yeah.
But just like seeing it all together, it's a huge.
There's a sticker shock.
Yeah,
but then
sticker shock. That's what you call it.
And you still have the box for, like, do you want to even leave more of a tip?
Yeah.
So I think there's always they're going to survive, but are they going to be the big chains and stuff? They have to be in trouble.
I forgot we weren't even planning to talk about this, but we should. We went and saw MadHeidi.
Oh my God!
At the Fathom events, we went and saw MadHeidi at the Fathom events, which you found out about. And it's funny because I was watching one of my YouTube channels that I watch. And they were talking about what's coming out. And they were like, hey, if you're out, you should check out MadHeidi. It's like doing a Fathom Events thing. It's like, oh, cool. So they're actually pushing it on this other channel. Anyway, it was cool. It was a fun little grindhouse adventure. Gory in the right parts. I enjoyed it. It did put me off cheese, though, for a while. I was like seriously not craving any cheese after that at all. But anyway, we went to that huge theater, the Cinemark. It's like, do you ever go on a Friday night? Like, is it packed in there?
No, it hasn't been packed in there since Endgame.
Because it's huge.
Yeah.
I was surprised at how big the MadHeidi screen was, and that's probably one of the smaller ones. And it's bigger than all the Alamo Drafthouse screens, honestly. And the projection looked really good, you know. Again, it had that old school Cinemark feel, which I don't get out to Cinemark a lot.
It's the rug.
I miss Front Row Joe.
Oh, man, yeah, Front Row Joe.
But anyway, it's like a place like that, will it survive? I don't know. They do. They got to have a gimmick. There's got to be something. They got to keep upgrading what's going on in there.
Yeah.
Food, drinks, lots of drink. Give people lots of drinks. Eventually, they'll have, when they legalize the marijuana, they'll have marijuana at the theater.
You might as well.
They'll have smoking theaters and non-smoking theaters. If they had a smoking theater, that would be hugely popular, I'm sure.
Oh, I think so.
There may be fire codes or whatever. But anyway, I think you're right. It's going to be around the capacity, but it's going to be a huge divide into, you're going to have your giant event theater that you go to with, you know, food that comes to your chair and chairs that vibrate and shoot water at you, and you know what I mean? It does the whole thing. And then you're going to have your smaller indie theaters, you know, because there is, if you play the smaller movies in the theater, people show up to watch it.
Yeah.
You know, whenever you look at the screen average, like when it's a movie that has demand to be seen, you put it up, people show up. And Kevin Smith says people love to come watch old movies. I think that could grow into more of a thing.
That's going to be big.
Alamo does it on the regular. Why don't more chain theaters do it?
I was telling you, like, Fathom Events we were talking about. I was telling you about it. It's just like they show Spirited Away like 4 or 5 times a year. And it must be doing well for them to keep showing it.
Yeah. And then, like, I mean, we walked into that flash screen for a minute, which I'd never seen a screen that huge, I don't think, in forever. It's bigger than the IMAX screen I go to. It would be dope if they played, something old in there.
Yeah.
I bet if they played Batman 89 and it would have had more people in there.
You're right. Yeah, they don't do any. They reserved Theater 1 for whatever the new drop is for the week.
Yeah. So
that kind of gets in there. But, hey, man, they had whiskey slushies. Like, it wasn't just margaritas. You can get a whiskey slushie.
That was very refreshing. I mean, it was good. The popcorn's good. And I just, again, maybe for nostalgia reasons, I just love the cheeky decor.
Oh, yeah.
The really corny movie theater decor. I don't know that that's for everyone these days, you know?
But if you walked into your house and you had that set up, that'd be pretty baller.
Yeah. It just, I don't know. I don't know where I think, people are very accustomed to watching stuff on iPads and phones. It's not maybe a huge deal to go to the movies anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not us. I don't know what age it starts of, like, we're going to the theater isn't that big of a deal, where it used to be everything. Going to the movies it was like everything. But now, how important is it? We were talking about this earlier. I've seen people that will commit to scrolling through their phone for an hour than to go to the theater for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what's the experience there? Because you got to remember, it's not just like, oh, you're consuming content. There's a whole experience that kind of goes into it, like walking into the theater, smelling the food or the popcorn or whatever, and getting there, the excitement, the trailers. They've kind of are blowing that out of the water. It used to be a lot more special when it was just like 3 or 4 trailers. Now it can't be 30 minutes of like some trailers, some Maria Menounos, and some commercials, and the M&Ms talking. But there's still an experience through all of that you're not going to get on your phone.
Yeah.
Like, what's the experience? Like, are people going to be talking about watching content on their phone the way we talk about going to Blockbuster on a Friday night 10 years from now?
I don't think so, because people don't talk about content on their phone. No. If you have a content on your phone that you like, you just text it to somebody else.
Yeah, you share it and it's over.
That's it. Yeah.
And price, yeah, that's a good point. Mike said everything's so expensive at the theater. It used to be a good family weekend event, but cash is tight these days.
Again, well, it's an expensive business to run, right? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, so it's like the people who need each other are
they're fighting each other.
Hurting.
Yeah.
Like I was talking to my brother. My brother has 3 kids, so for him it's just like to go like for a family event, it'd be possible. He's going to drop a couple of bills.
Yeah.
Especially if you go to like buy food and all of that, like. We can go in there and drop $30-$40. There's no dollar theaters anymore.
No, I mean, no dollar theater. Everything's really expensive. I don't have heat with the theater for that. They're just trying to do what they're
trying to survive.
Yeah,
because the rent's high.
But you're right. I think studios and theaters should be working together.
Yeah, and they're not, and they're just holding on to. The studios are holding on to their share and not realizing that how much they need the theaters. But are they looking at, these mobile devices that the way that they're looking at AI of like a way to replace what they see as evil? But I just and not evil, but more as what's going to cut into their profits, financially evil, I guess. That's going to remain to be seen. But man, we're talking about what we're going to talk about. And I completely forgot that we saw MadHeidi last week. Yeah. The return of Casper Van Dien. Yeah. Which was great. And Milo's World. That's not safe to Google at work if you're at work. But Milo is in that, and Milo delivers the same content she delivers on her Twitter page. I was like, I had that embarrassing moment of just like, like, hey, where do I know you from? I was like, oh, wait, that person was in porn. She's not in porn, but it was just like, it was definitely that moment like, hey, where do I know you from? Hey, cowboy, don't I know you? But MadHeidi, let's just talk a little bit. Again, we'll stay in that same vein. How many people donated money to their Kickstarter? And on top of that, it looks like Switzerland kicked in money and like helped finance that film. Yeah,
I think that's pretty common in Europe. A lot of the countries, they fund the arts and they'll fund films. And since it's based on a historical figure, probably not a huge lift. They had to pay Casper Van Dien's salary.
Yeah.
To show up. Hold on, let me pull in a MadHeidi. But it was it's pretty decent.
Not that MadHeidi made me sneeze. I was trying to find the. Do you have a synopsis? Oh, you can actually even already get it on Apple. It was just a one. I know it was a one-night only event. Swiss mountain girl Heidi is abducted by brutal government troops and must defend herself and fight a war against a cheese-fueled machinery of hate. I didn't know how far they were going to go with the grindhouse gimmick, but they went pretty far.
It's crazy.
You had women in cages. They check. Women in cages naked, check. Bloody gore, check.
I just think it's funny how influential Tarantino is overseas.
Yes.
And they're doing the grindhouse gimmick, which was about 15 years ago at least. It's not brand new. And it's just cool to see that. We're huge fans of him here on the show. I'm a huge fan, but it's just like he's still affecting folks with a movie he did 15 years ago.
It's true, and I was thinking about how the podcast kind of done this. His podcast did this? I always would love to hear, hey, I just saw this movie. What did you think of it? I think that's all that's what he needs to do in his retirement. Just have people upvote. What did you think of this? Because I want to hear what he has to say about every single movie. If you listen to Video Archives, you'll know what I'm talking about. Every single movie, I want to know what his opinion is.
Well, the thing is, everybody does, and that's why he has to avoid reviewing movies. He goes out of his way to not review current films.
Yeah.
But you know he does have an opinion on all.
Yeah, didn't he said that in the award show, right? When he said, like, I have to be careful with what I'm saying about current films because I may hurt somebody's feeling or somebody I'm working with. So he tiptoes around it where he just shoots straight from the hip on all the older stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is fine. I don't think why I think his opinion on films are so much, and I'd love to hear what he thought about MadHeidi, is it's never personal with him. The film and the theater, that's his church and that's his worship, and I just want to hear what he says about it. And he just shows you a part of it and maybe makes you appreciate a film even more. I was trying to find who else. Oh, and I should just clear up. Milo is a Swiss conceptual artist and model known for her nude performances. She's an artist. I wasn't. So let's clear that up just in case we get limited like we did last week for dropping an F-bomb. I just wanted to make sure that was clear. But I thought Casper Van Dien did really well. It was cool to see him come back. And he definitely had that look about him that made you wonder, like, why did he stop making even direct-to-streaming movies? Like, I feel like we haven't seen him anywhere.
I think he's been in plenty direct-to-video stuff.
You think maybe I'm just missing him?
I mean, there's about 6 other Starship Troopers movies.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. It has a bunch of sequels. He's been in stuff. He gets work.
He's big. He's big in Germany. He's big in Switzerland.
It could be. I mean, he's in stuff. Let's pull up his IMDb.
Yeah, let's do that. That's what I need to see. Are you gonna buy MadHeidi? I feel like now I want to watch it at home at least once.
I wasn't planning on buying it. I'm sure it'll show up on one of the streaming channels I have eventually.
Oh yeah, you have the, but you're back in cable mode. If it's on the channel, you will leave it.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Known for Johnny. Oh, he was in. God, he's in the movie I have heat with, Alita: Battle Angel.
Oh,
he's a muck. He's called a muck. That's obviously he's known as Johnny Rico.
I mean, he was.
He's Sleepy Hollow. He was big in Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow. He was in the Batman movie.
Wait, his daughter? That's his daughter who plays Chrissy in Stranger Things? I did not know that.
Don't know that. I don't know. I don't. Yeah.
Oh wow.
He's been a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
I think he still
Heart
gets
of a
work.
Champion. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's got a ton of stuff in here. Hunt Club.
He's on a couple of shows still at the moment. He's doing TV.
The Tale of Two Guns.
He's working.
Oh yeah, he's got a lot of work. I take that back. The Road to Camp Miracle. Sunset Glory. Blood Metal Revenge. All right. I stand corrected. He was in Deadpool, the Musical 2, Ultimate Disney Parody. He played Cyclops in a short.
There you go.
He's work.
That's work.
Have you heard of the main actress before, Alice Lucy?
I have not.
I started following her and just kind of checking out because I thought she did a good job in there, and she seems like she's an up and comer. Like she didn't like have a whole bunch of stuff, so it was cool to see this movie kind of fathom events. Could be what we're talking about of the future of movies, of like special engagements rather than finding a way to like, okay, we have to show this on 4,000 screens and we have to pay for that and we have to show it for like 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Fathom events is what it says. It's an event. This felt like an event. Like I felt like even if we didn't want to go see this, we had to see this because it added some urgency, because this is like one night only. If we missed it, how would we ever see MadHeidi? And would it be different if we were watching it at home? So, but good stuff. Check it out. It looks like it is already available on Apple for purchase. What is that called? There's a word for it where you don't rent the movie. It's still in theaters, but you can buy it at home if you want to.
Yeah.
It's like an extreme rental. I don't know if the extreme is the right word.
But you still get to keep it forever.
Yeah, you still get to keep it forever.
Yeah.
Which is fine. You're probably going to pay more than you would for a ticket, but to Mike's point, like if you have a big family that's going in there, dropping $20 for the movie, even though a ticket would be cheaper, would be worth it.
Yeah, and if you use your Amazon Prime, here's a money-saving tip. As we like to have those on the show as well sometimes.
Yes.
For the people struggling in the economy. If you use Amazon Prime shipping and you get like a slower shipping, they'll give you like credits to when you purchase films.
Oh yeah. I've done it.
So I was the other day, I was like, I bought that movie Falling Down, and I bought Hateful Eight as well.
With your credit.
Yeah, because I got Hateful Eight for like $5, and I think I got Falling Down for like $7. Falling Down, because I hadn't seen it in forever, and I wanted to watch it.
Falling Down.
Now I own it.
I still use his line. I'm the bad guy. Mm-hmm. Except it's so good, and that was really good. That's a great tip. We got to make that into a short because that's smart. They were doing music for a while, but now with streaming music, nobody really cares. But like for film, I want to own the film, even if I want to own the media. But if I can't own the media, I want to be able to watch it on every app, every device, no matter what, no matter where I go. Wi-Fi's down, it's okay. I got a couple of movies tucked away.
Absolutely, but always, always, always do get physical media if it's something you really like and want to have. Get it.
Yeah, it's totally worth it. I was searching today now that my VCR is repaired. Thank you, Telstar Services here in Austin, Texas. Shout out. VCR is functional again.
Is it a Panasonic?
No, it was Toshiba.
No.
But they gave me a good deal to buy actually a tape head cleaner and a rewinder too for that. So I had Return of the Jedi on there playing today because I need to dig out what VHS I still have left, and I want to go swap and buy some. So I was actually on Amazon looking for some tapes to buy.
Oh, man. Okay, I got to show you some tape spots.
Yeah.
I know a great tape spot.
You do? Okay, Cool. Well, we want to take a quick break. We've been going, and then the reason for the season, we'll talk about some indie. Give 'em hell, Indiana Jones.
All right. BRB.
Today, the United States is engaged in a gigantic effort to send men to the moon. For this effort, Pillsbury has developed many special foods. Here is the first one to be made available to the public, Space Food Sticks. To meet the demands of a long space flight, Space Food Sticks had to be a compact, nutritious, high-energy food. That's why they make the perfect between-meal energy snack. Energy for hard play. Energy for hard work. Lasting energy to feel alive. If that sounds better than some of the things your family fills up on between meals, you should try Space Food Sticks for good nutrition and lasting energy in a chewy, tasty snack food. Chocolate, caramel, and peanut butter. About 44 calories. At your grocer's next to the instant breakfast section. Space Food Sticks, the energy snack from U.S. Aerospace Research and Pillsbury.
It's landed. Ideal's new Astro Base has just landed. Look, the space lock is opening. And here comes the astronaut. He's being lowered from the Astro Base into the remote control scout car. The two space probes are being mounted for launching. The car is scanning the area. And there go the space probes. They're calling them back to the Astro Base. Mission accomplished. Ideal's Astro Base and Colonel Macaulay's space helmet are the greatest way to play outer space. You can scan the skies, launch deep space probes, fire rockets, destroy stray meteorites. Ideal's Astro Base is at your favorite toy store. Get your Ideal Astro Base today.
Eldon's new Billy Blastoff. Now he walks.
That's Billy's jet.
The jetpack on Billy's back powers his lunar crawler, runs the space mobile, drives the moon tractor, and makes Billy Blastoff walk. Eldon's Billy Blastoff Space Scout comes with 8 pieces.
There's 8 pieces.
Billy Blastoff. Now he walks.
Now, for every kid who has ever seen a science fiction movie, thrilled to the amazing strength of an out-of-this-world movie monster, comes Great Garloo by Marx. Garloo the Mighty. Garloo the Untamed. Garloo the Terrible. Who can stop him? Who can control this monstrous creature? You can, kids, because Great Garloo by Marx is yours to command. With these battery-operated controls, you can make Garloo go, stop, bend, pick up, turn. Yes, Great Garloo, almost 2 feet tall, will be your faithful servant. You name it, you're the boss. Bring out-of-this-world excitement into your house, kids. Own the most fantastic toy of all. Great Garloo by Marx.
M-A-R-X spells Marx, world's largest toy maker.
Ideal's Robot Commando is here to help you. He's your one-man army. No enemy can destroy him. He fights off tanks, hurls missiles one after another. Even a squadron of planes can't stop him. Robot Commando fires his secret weapon. He takes orders from no one except you.
Forward!
Ideal's Robot Commando is battery operated to obey your command. Adjust the control, speak into the microphone.
Left! Fire!
Ideal's Robot Commando is here to help you. Look for your Robot Commando. He's looking for you.
The Zeroids are here. From the planet Zero, the Zeroids. Zirak, the Zeroid commander, frees himself from his own Zeroid capsule. Advance! Zobor, the Zeroid transporter. Change his Zeroid capsule into a Cosmobile for hauling. Zintar, the Zeroid explorer, change his Zeroid capsule into a lunar sled. Command the Zeroids to defend. Move forward, backward, and transport. Command the Zeroids from Ideal.
Oh man, end of June already. Do we feel like the movie season that we've been talking about for a while now has kind of lived up to the hype so far? As we come, and I say this setting up for what you consider your main event, because this is your boy, your holy trilogy, Indiana Jones.
Oh man,
Mixed bag?
I mean, I think it's been fine. I haven't had any real complaints. I feel like things I've wanted to see have been good. Things I haven't really wanted to see have been okay. I think there's been a lot of great stuff this year. I think that the main issue has been there's almost too much.
Yeah.
And there continues to be too much. We just had Flash. We just had, I don't know what else. Spider-Verse. And now we're getting Indiana Jones 5? 5?
Yep. And then Mission Impossible. And then the big battle, Barbie versus Oppenheimer.
Okay, I'm up for that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to having a Barbie Oppenheimer double feature day. I'm gonna plan it out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We have to make a plan to go see Oppenheimer at the IMAX.
Yeah.
We got to do that. I'll be coming back in town.
I was thinking earlier. I do have tickets for Indy for the brunch Saturday show, as I'd like to do, and I've got my Mondo glasses on reserve. Looking forward to that. But I'm starting to think I might need a preview screening of that one. So, for myself.
Just to take it in?
Yeah.
I don't blame you, man.
Like I might go to the late night Thursday. Just to absorb it.
I'm a big fan of that Thursday, as you know. I love those Thursday showings.
Sometimes it's too early for me sometimes.
I need to discharge the steam, let out some steam, Bennett.
Yeah.
That's my Thursday showing. Because then I go back and then I watch. The weekend viewing is my actual viewing.
Yeah.
But I need that let out some steam, Bennett.
I'm still so hurt by Crystal Skulls that I might need to just do a private screening first. Because I told you, when we went to see Crystal Skulls.
Yeah.
what was this, 15 years ago? I was on a movie. I was on a crew, and we're like, it's an indie show. Everybody's sleeping in crappy accommodations, and going to hotels, and everything's all super low budget. Whatever. We're working our butts off. We had a dark day, and they released, it was a day they just released Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. So there's a crew full of movie nerds going to watch this movie. Super excited. The majority of people were super excited. And then we sat through it and all just kind of came out and were quiet.
That's such a bummer, man. Because, there was no hype walking out of there.
There was a lot of hype going in, but coming out was the saddest.
Well, I remember you telling me about that. So I'm hedging my bets. So not only am I going to Thursday screening, I'm going to be driving 3 hours to Houston.
You're going to the Screen X.
I'm going to Screen X. Finally going to see the movie theater that has 3 screens and one in front of you and then one to the left and one to the right. I'm going to meet friend of the show, professional wrestler Wayne, and we're going to be going to see that on that Thursday showing. I shouldn't give the time because he's like, don't say anything because I want to make sure the theater stays empty. Although this is not getting a lot of hype. This is not getting a lot of hype. Do you feel like, are you nervous? I mean,
look,
you were feeling better with James Mangold, but now I feel like that's kind of dissipated a little bit, no?
Yeah, I mean, this may be an instance of also they've been hyping this one a little too much. I guess they're trying to generate interest. But who under 40 is going to want to see this movie? That's what I need to know. The last one was 15 years ago, and it was horrible and universally hated. The last good one was 89, same year as Batman.
Yeah.
Now, is it going to suffer the same fate? And we've also got a digital Indiana Jones going on.
Right.
I mean, here's the thing. I don't know how you're looking forward to it. I feel like you are pretty positive going into most movies. You're always going in with a good attitude. And I'm sure you're going into this one. I feel like an abused dog going back in, and it's like Indiana Jones wants to reach out and pet me again, and I'm just hesitant,
because he smacked you last time.
I think it's going to be a smack. Like, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a smack.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's going to go as bad as I imagine it might go. I think it'll be better than Crystal Skulls, but it's not going to be in the category. It's not going to be in the realm of the original trilogy.
Man, which is like, what's your, like, I don't know if you're a James Mangold fan. Like, what would you list as, like, do you have a go-to favorite film of his? Like, because already he did
he's got like an interesting filmography. He's done like different movies every time.
I did, because I had no idea he did Identity.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Copland, I loved Copland. I had no idea
that was his breakthrough indie movie.
Yeah, I had no idea he did. But Girl Interrupted, Kate and Leopold, Night and Day, 3:10 to Yuma.
Yep.
Walk the Line. I mean, he's got the Wolverine and Logan. I mean, it's a pretty solid track record.
Yeah.
But now we have to factor in what's been, when we've talked about it here with The Mandalorian and Wayne, we have to factor in Kathy Kennedy in this, right? We kind of have to. Like, her studio notes can't be good.
Well, she made all the other Indiana Jones movies, so she should have the best perspective.
She was more involved with the Indiana Jones movies than she was in the Star Wars movie in her earlier
She's a
career,
producer,
correct?
right? She's a producer.
Yeah. She was a producer on all of the early ones, but like, I feel like this one, she probably had more influence on earlier.
Here is the main issue, in my opinion. Our hero, Dr. Henry Jones Jr.
You call him Dr. Jones, doll.
He's not Indiana. Indiana was the dog. He's 80. He's 80.
Yeah.
Now, I think this movie is leaning into the age.
I think so.
But still, in the summer movie season full of blockbusters, John Wick, we live in the John Wick era. What is an 80-year-old Indiana Jones? How does he stand a chance?
It's true.
So we're going to go, and I think that, what are you expecting? How are you expecting to feel watching this movie?
Oh, I'm 100% positive that it's going to be better than Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls.
It has to be that.
So it's a low bar of excitement for me. And I think I hedged my bets. I'm going to a theater that has 3 screens
Yeah.
because I can now feel like it's an experience.
I'm looking forward to getting the Mondo glasses. I can't wait to get those.
Yeah, so it's hedging your bets. But that being said, after reading through James Mangold's filmography, if you're just asking me on the films he made, I think we're in for a treat. I think we're going to be pleasantly surprised if you get this Thursday showing, get it out of your system, and then go back again and watch it on Saturday. No matter how you feel on Thursday, go watch it again on Saturday.
I think I may end up doing that.
I think that's the way you go. And then I think you're going to be... Is this going to be the best Indiana Jones? No, it can't be. There's no way you can recapture.
There's absolutely no
magic.
chance of that happening at all.
I mean, you have that as your number 1 trilogy of all time.
Yes.
And rightfully so. Like, there's no way you can do it. I think it's going to have that same feeling like, oh, I feel like they should have done this, they should have done that, but I don't think it's going to be bad. I feel very confident that it's not going to be bad. I just don't know if it's going to be like the perfect send-off for him. I don't know.
It's not going to be bad, which in a way is going to make it even worse.
Is that to make it hard?
Because I just, I was super excited for Crystal Skulls. I was like, yes, one more. Why not? Let's do this. Yeah. And then 90 seconds into it, it turns into Caddyshack. And it's just like, this is like, you almost need this to wipe away the stain of Crystal Skulls, but also I don't want it. I just wish they both didn't exist. But I'm going to go and see it anyway.
I mean, you're not wrong. So when people ask me what my favorite Star Wars movie, and this used to mean a lot more when there was really only 6. I used to say it, I really never looked at them as just one single film. It definitely, now I'm only talking about 1 through 6. I never looked at them as one film. Like I liked one entry better than the other. But a lot of people were able to do that. I wasn't able to do that, right? It was the conversation in Clerks, Empire had the better ending. Jedi was a bunch of Muppets. People were able to, I never was able to do that. Are you able to do that with the Indiana Jones and say which one was your favorite? Raiders of the Lost Ark, Temple of Doom, or Last Crusade?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Yeah. They're not an ongoing story. They're episodes.
We can do a mini Mario Machete's cut on Indiana Jones.
I mean, my favorite is Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yeah.
Hands down. I feel like that one is unfairly maligned. Like, it's not the favorite when I feel it should obviously be the favorite.
Yeah.
It's got the horror elements that the others don't have, which I know Steven Spielberg was going through some stuff when he made that movie, so that's why that came through. So was George Lucas. They were both getting divorces. But Temple of Doom, I just think is stylistically my favorite. Kate Capshaw's character gets heat, because of, does a lot of stereotypical female action movie tropes.
Yeah.
But I mean, when they're in the cave with the bugs,
yeah.
The minecart chase, the waterfall, the chilled monkey brains.
Oh, yeah.
It just can't be topped. And like the thing that makes it so great is that it's the sequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark, which Raiders of the Lost Ark is untoppable. But I thought Temple of Doom managed just to top it just because of how, over the top it is.
Yeah.
It just jumps the fence.
Fair.
They rip that dude's heart out.
Yeah, exactly.
In that one scene and throw it in a fire.
I used to think that should have been a wrestling finishing hold, that claw, and then they ended up doing it in that Pro Wrestling Nintendo, the claw to the chest. But
I love Temple of Doom. I think that's my favorite. A close second is, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Temple of Doom. Last Crusade is a really close third. Really close.
Yeah. Fair. Yeah. That's probably, I think we're in total alignment. That's probably how I would book those two. I think if I had memories like of which one sticks in my head the most, it is Temple of Doom. I still remember to this day my aunt walking in the house and she's like, that movie started with action and it just never stopped the entire time.
Yeah.
And is that one of the best film openings of all time, the Anything Goes scene?
Absolutely.
Anything Goes. That song, everything about it works.
Anything Goes also combined with the actual action scene, the payoff.
Yes.
You know?
So good.
With the with the jewels and the ice buckets and Lao Che.
It's the gong and shooting at the gong with the old school Tommy gun machine jumping out the window, ending up on the plane, and then the plane didn't. Oh yeah, everything about it was so good. But I think it just worked for one of the best opening scenes. And what was it? I'm going to ask you your technical opinion. What did they do with their faces in that scene that made it look so different? What did they do with the lenses? And the only time I've ever seen anyone do this with the lens where it almost made it look like the face was long, like it was a looming figure, was in Superman 2 when they did General Zod, Nan, and Ursa. After they lost their powers, they made their faces look long. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'm not sure. I'll have to look at some stills, yeah.
There was just I feel like they did something to make them seem more evil. Like they just stretched their face somehow, something about it. And I'm talking about when Indy's buddy, who was the waiter, and then he just, he was going to help Indy, but then he ended up getting shot, which was quite the swerve because I thought that was going to be his new assistant or something, and he was done really quick. But yeah, I'll show you it. There was just something about, if you can find that opening, they did something that it made their faces look stretched and looming. But anyway, I think everything about that just worked so well. And I think because Raiders of the Lost Ark, nobody saw it coming. Like nobody expected that. Was Raiders of the Lost Ark before or after Romancing the Stone?
Oh, before. That was the inspiration.
Okay.
I mean, I think they were expecting something. It was Spielberg and Lucas, Jaws and Star Wars teaming up. So I'm sure the hopes were high, but I don't think anybody knew exactly what it was supposed to be.
Like how high that was going to go. Because would you say, to me, is he remembered? Is he going to be remembered or is remembered for Han Solo or Indiana Jones? Or are they literally like neck and neck?
I think they're pretty neck and neck. It's like Rocky and Rambo.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good comparison. Yeah. They are like, he is like Rocky and Rambo.
It's probably just your preference in IP.
Yeah. And then we had, obviously, The Last Crusade. It was such a big deal to have, I remember them booking Sean Connery as their dad. Junior! Like how big of a deal that was in 1989 to get Sean Connery in there. And it just like worked so well. And I think they were trying to recreate a little bit of that magic with Mutt, since Shia LaBeouf was kind of hot. He was kind of anointed, like Steven Spielberg said, you're going to be the next Tom Hanks in Hollywood. And then it took a hard right on that, and that didn't work the same magic. What about the Indiana Jones Chronicles? Did you ever watch that?
Not really, no.
I did watch it, and then I know a lot of people are like, "Oh, it's kind of boring. It's kind of like a history show." And they forget that he's he's an archaeologist. He has a passion for iniquities. Of course, it's going to be about history.
Yeah. No, we want to see the adventure parts.
So I never got that, but why people had heat with that? Because to me, I remember in Last Crusade how much of a big deal it was that we were going to see young Indiana Jones, right? And it was River Phoenix. We were going to get a young Indy. And then that's what I thought they were going to use to kind of kick off the show. But then they booked somebody else for the show, which was kind of confusing. But that was a huge deal.
Yeah.
To get Sean Connery and River Phoenix in The Last Crusade. And ironically, that may have been one of the last films I did see in the drive-in, as when drive-ins were still a part of the regular, obviously. Last Crusade. And that was,
I saw Temple of Doom at the drive-in.
Yeah. Which those were great drive-in films to see. But to
this day, it makes me want fried chicken because, just go to drive and take that bucket of chicken in the car.
Man, that was so... How did they stay in business? Maybe we need to go back in time.
Well, I mean, they charged a fair amount for the car. It wasn't like $20 a car or something.
Yeah.
Back in the day before people were charging $20 for a movie. So, and all they're doing is playing the movie. They still sold snacks. Couldn't go to the drive-in and not get snacks.
No, you had to go to the lobby.
But you bring in your own snacks as well. You bring your church's chicken.
I couldn't remember. I can never figure out if they charge by the car or charged by the people in the car. But
they charge by the people in the car or by the car.
Oh, okay.
So it's like you could pay whichever fee, but that's still why they would sneak people in.
Yeah, you do that. You wouldn't not like Grease, like hide in the trunk, but maybe your parents say just duck down in the wheel well. You're pretty small.
Yeah.
That used to be a rite of passage trying to sneak into movies. Now I feel like people don't care enough because it used to be hard.
I don't even think people think about it because now you have assigned seating.
Yeah.
So it's like, but even to this day, I still think of ways to sneak into movies.
I mean, if you think about it, after MadHeidi, when I wanted to show the screen, what would have stopped? There was not a lot of people in that flash showing. We could have literally just sat down and just watched it.
No, I literally will use the app, the theater app, to look what seats are open in a different theater while I'm sitting there. It's like, I'm going to watch the end of The Flash again. Let me go just sit in these empty seats. I think that's something that just has to be inbred to you.
Yeah.
You have to come from that era.
We did. Oh yeah, we used to try to sneak in all the time. It was just part of the experience, as we talked about. Are you worried about the whole Kathy Kennedy? Do you think the studio, I feel like that's this film is going to come down to. How many notes did Mangold give her that says like, fine, we'll put this in, versus just like, no, I'm going to make the movie I want to see.
There's no way at all for that this was ever going to be the movie we wanted to see.
Yeah.
It's just not ever going to happen. It's just, we can pretend to buy into it, but there's a certain part of us that is never going to be able to accept 80-year-old Indiana Jones doing adventure, right?
You think it's in our brain, like we realize he's deep faked when he's younger, and
we're definitely going to realize he's deep faked. I think it's, and then, it's like, the 89 end of Last Crusade was the perfect ending. They didn't need another ending.
It was the last Crusade.
The Last Crusade, and it ended great. He made up with his dad. The arc is great. So it's just like, and then I think that even though I'm sure James Mangold is going to do a great job, the fact that it's not Spielberg still separates it from the group. It can't be helped.
Is he just EP? Is that?
I don't know. I'm sure he's getting some kind of check, but like, he's not directing. So it's just not going to seem right. But I'm still going to go sit in and watch it. And, probably twice. And
you have to watch it twice. This movie's too important for you to not give it 2 swings.
Yeah, I give it 2 swings.
You got to give it 2 swings.
I'll give it 2 swings, but it's hard for me to grasp at any idea, any possibility that this could be a great movie.
When, while we're on that topic, what was the last Steven Spielberg movie that you loved?
I don't know. He cranks out a lot of movies.
Yeah.
For being so up there in age already, he's still working a lot.
Yeah. And I say that as I'm kind of looking through his filmography and trying to decide which one would I'd say.
I mean, I don't know. I liked some of his later stuff. I did like Catch Me If You Can. I thought that was good. I thought that was really good. I didn't see West Side Story, or I didn't watch all of it.
No, I didn't finish.
I just saw The Fabelmans, which I didn't really care for. It's gonna have to be that one I said.
Catch Me If You Can.
I
2002.
feel like that was the last one. Yeah,
20 years.
I liked The Terminal. I thought The Terminal was.
I think The Terminal got a lot of unjust heat. I think it was pretty.
I thought it was pretty good, but
I knew Seeing Private Ryan was going to be a movie that I was only going to want to watch once. And
Private Ryan was like an event movie.
Great movie, but there was no way I was going to watch that twice.
Yeah.
It was too heavy.
It's too heavy, and also like I don't think. What's wild about that? It's a great movie, great film. You definitely don't want to watch it multiple times, but it's also got that grindhouse thing to it.
Yeah,
you don't think about it because it's Spielberg, but it is just like graphic violence, war for real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, real war.
And it's got that, and that was part of the draw. But anyway, it's a good film. Fine. I like the War of the Worlds remake. I thought that was good.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
Minority Report was good.
Minority Report was really good.
Ready Player One had heat when it came out, but still echoes in my mind.
That's true, man. I mean,
he sought that one out. Spielberg really wanted to do that one.
My only note for Ready Player One, which it was just too tough to do, is like it was too short. Because I liked that movie enough that I'm like, I think I should read this book, and then I realized how great the book was.
Yeah.
And I told you I only watch the movie, then I go back in the book because I don't want to be disappointed. Now it's like, oh, look at all this backstory I have now. But then after reading that book, that was sprawling enough that it should have been more. And now with Ready Player 2, it really could have been more than just one film. It maybe would have been a series.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the way to go, just to make it a great series. Maybe that would have went. But yeah, same, like that literally still echoes in my head. You know what Spielberg film that I love and that probably alone in it, speaking of just kind of sticks in your head, is, ironically, AI.
Oh, yeah.
Artificial intelligence. I thought that I enjoyed that. It was a weird half Kubrick, half Spielberg movie, and you can almost feel when it went to one to the other. But I don't know. Gigolo Joe always kind of stuck in my head, and Haley Joel. I just like the way that they learned how to, the way it ended with the aliens figuring out the DNA and then giving him a copy of his mom, like all stuff now that's slowly becoming a reality for us. That everything about that, the cast was good, like everything about. Did you like? Yeah, I thought it was good.
I liked it. I think you're absolutely right. It does feel like two movies. The first half is vastly different than the second half. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was really good.
Yeah, it's one that I've actually wanted
Has
to go
Spielberg ever made a bad movie in your opinion? Does he have any bad ones?
That's a good. Let's go through here. There's like
not ones you don't like, but
yeah,
a bad movie.
Oh, that are made bad? No.
I mean, everybody has heat with like 1941, but I think that's probably a classic.
Yeah, I think so too. I think actually, I would love for if you ever see Alamo doing that, I'd love to see that on the big screen come out. I don't know. People had heat with BFG, right?
He did BFG. Oh yeah,
he did BFG.
He works a lot.
Yeah, so I would say probably one that was I would say the most disappointing movie because I had such high hopes for it. If he was, I don't know if he directed or not. Was The Lost World, Jurassic Park 2? Did he direct that?
He did.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed in.
Yeah,
like I remember leaving really disappointed in that, just because. But it's hard. That was a high bar. I also felt the same way about the second Jurassic World one because the first one was so good. That would be the closest one that I would put on there. Tintin, that's another one. I don't know. I remember kind of watching it, and the cast was, the voice actors were so good, but I don't know if it actually delivered on it or not. Mike saw it. Did you see it?
Tintin,
The Adventures of Tintin.
I don't remember watching it. Man,
but it's funny when we talk about Quentin about wanting to, before he gets burnt out. I mean, there's so many Spielberg movies that are just like untouchable, like absolutely untouchable. To think, but now is he? I didn't see The Fabelmans, and I wasn't even drawn to go see The Fabelmans.
It's not a bad movie. It's just not. I don't know. Not really. What I wanted to see, and it was kind of a weird experience since it's like a dramatization of him growing up.
Yeah,
I think the best part of that movie is the last scene where Spielberg meets John Ford.
Oh, really? They have that in there?
And I guess it's not actually Spielberg; it's dramatization. It's another person, whatever.
Yeah.
But he meets John Ford, and John Ford is played by David Lynch, and I thought that was the best.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool casting.
Yeah, it's cool casting. It's not a bad movie, and honestly, I think if you watch it, you'll like most of it. I think the parts that were strange to me was there's a lot of. It's not strange. It's just sort of like the way that it was put out. It's a lot of family drama and like the parents' marriage drama. basically that's like the weird part. He's like exposing his parents' sort of like family drama.
Oh,
and you're just kind of like,
so it makes you feel like you're in the middle of a room
like,
when someone's fighting.
Yeah, and it's just like it's got these great scenes where like, you know, the Spielberg variant is like getting bullied in school, and they're like, oh, you should shoot the high school skip day and make a movie of it, blah blah blah. You know what I mean? And it's like the girl he's dating is like really rich, and it's like, my dad has an RE16 camera. And you say, your dad has an RE16. Like, there's cool stuff in there. You'd like it.
All right.
But then all the family stuff, you're just kind of like, this is killing my buzz.
Awkward. It also always felt like to a movie that was made a little too late. Like this should have been made earlier, closer to the year 2000.
And it's not like family drama where it's like it's not like it's Precious and they're overcoming, you know, abusive, overbearing parents. It's just like, you know, I guess his parents didn't stay together. And, you know, that happens a lot. And it's just the way it's played out. You're just kind of like, I don't know that you should be sharing this with me.
Yeah. Maybe it was therapeutic.
Seth Rogen is in it, by the way.
I did not know that.
It's good. You will like the majority. You watch it, you'll see what I mean.
Okay.
And you'll be like, if they just cut out like those parts, this would be much more enjoyable.
All right. We'll check it out. Let's talk about the two misconceptions or confusion or the way history is rewriting Spielberg. And this is two directing projects. I don't even know if I ever knew this consciously, that he was not the official director of Poltergeist. What is the story? Do you know the story behind that? Why he's only listed as the de facto director?
Of Poltergeist?
Yeah.
Well, see, we got to have Joe Bob on for this one.
Yeah, that's what I want. Because it was Tobe Hooper, right?
The scuttlebutt is the internet story is that Spielberg ghost directed Poltergeist because it was a disaster and it was out of control, and Tobe Hooper was maybe on drugs. That's what they say. Where Joe Bob Briggs maintains that is not true, and then there's a camp of people who maintain that's not true, that Tobe Hooper directed Poltergeist. And I think Spielberg has even come out and says, I did not direct Poltergeist, but for some reason there's like an urban legend that he ghost directed Poltergeist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did not know that. I mean, I knew he was story by, and you knew he was the EP because that's what he was doing at the time, like producing. But when you see Carol Ann, right, the actress that played Carol, you always think of Steven Spielberg. It's like, oh yeah, you know how he always likes to book little kids in his film to add to the heart of the story. But I did not know this whole thing of why he's just considered the de facto director. So yeah, that would be cool to figure out the scoop behind that. And the other one, which I think everybody knows this, but it still always blows your mind, that when you think Steven Spielberg movies, The Goonies has to be on that list. And he did the story and he was an EP, but he was not the director.
I never think of that as a Spielberg movie.
You don't?
No.
You think of that Dick Donner?
Yeah, Dick Donner.
Dick Donner?
Yeah.
So that, I don't know, that to me, that always felt like, and I don't know, it's just because of just like, again, you have him booking kids.
I think that as a kid, I was very aware, distinctly aware, probably more so than the layperson, how a producer was different than the director. And I knew that if someone was credited as producer, it was not the same thing as directing. And I think back in the day, people would get those two confused.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. It did feel, but don't you feel like even like the vibe, the music, just like the adventure on there, like it just didn't feel Spielberg-y to you?
I mean, thinking about it now, sure. Yeah, it does have that Spielberg vibe. The score, the kids. Yeah, definitely.
But it just, dude, this movie, stands the test of time, and it's so precious to so many people because directed by Richard Donner, screenplay by Chris Columbus, story by Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
And then all these actors, I mean, everything about all the kids they booked, they just stuck in your head. Like everything about it was magical, other than even creating the rock and wrestling connection.
Can I blow your mind one more time?
Yeah, do it.
Did you know that there is a subplot in that movie that was completely edited out, where there was an escaped gorilla in the town?
No idea. What?
Yeah, there's a whole other you can look it up. I'm sure you can find plenty explanations about it. But there's an entire whole other subplot where they had an escaped gorilla running amok in the town while the Goonies were having their adventure. And
this is the first time I ever heard the first shoot. I've never heard that till now.
Yeah.
And they shot stuff for it.
They shot stuff for it. I think maybe the gorilla wasn't working or something like that, or they realized they just couldn't finish it. But yeah, it's in the original script.
Oh my God. Ironically, the shark didn't work and then the gorilla didn't work? Come on.
Release the gorilla cut. Mike said, yeah, for real.
Release the gorilla. But you're right, Mike. I do remember him doing a lot of promos and marketing for the film as well. But to me, it's just like, I don't know. Even if it's just for the layman, average film goer, I think if they lists your favorite Spielberg films, I think a lot of people would list The Goonies.
I believe that. Yeah, sure.
And again, sure, you can say it is in a part of his family because that's Amblin, right? It would fall under Amblin. But I don't know. Again, dude, reading through this, now I am really disappointed that Steven Spielberg is not directing the last Indiana Jones. Like, even though he did King of the Crystal Skulls, what about if Steven Spielberg got...
Oh my God.
What's that?
That is a bad movie by Steven Spielberg. Is Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Yeah, that's his only bad movie.
There it is.
There it is. No wonder he didn't want to come back to do it again.
So that was at the same time that, George Lucas was accused of murdering people's childhood, maybe. Oh, I said the M word. Oh, maybe we're long enough along. All right, anyway. Yeah, I guess that for you, that would be it, right?
Yeah.
King of the Crystal Skulls. Oh, yeah, that would probably be for me too, I guess. Oh, I forgot what about Gritty? Let's talk about Gritty, Steven Spielberg. And I'm not even talking about his earlier stuff. Duel, right? The 1971. I saw that later on, the TV movie. I feel like Quentin talks about that film a lot. Duel. Then we have Munich. I'm just going to jump around. That's another one on how... Did you like Munich?
Munich is awesome.
Munich was great.
Yeah.
That was so good. And that came out in the same year as War of the Worlds. So 2005, Spielberg was still going to town to get War of the Worlds in Munich in the same year. Mm-hmm. And that's coming off Minority Report, Catch Me If You Can. Like, there it is. Your speed bump was Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. Because after that was Tintin, War Horse, Lincoln, Bridge of Spies, BFG, The Post, and that's over in 10 years, like in a row. Those will be a lot of movies that a lot of people didn't like. It could be argued he hasn't fully recovered, other than Ready Player One. Which one of those films jumps out at you after Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
I thought The Post was really good.
The Post?
Yeah.
Okay.
Aside from that, those other ones, I could not care less.
Yeah, maybe he just never recovered. He was the end title designer in West Side Story.
We need to get Dawson Leary from the Dawson's Creek show to give an explanation of Spielberg's sort of late career filmography.
Of what's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah.
James Vanderbeek lives here in town now.
Does he?
Yeah.
Let's go find him, man.
We should book him. Could you come on and do Dawson Leary and talk about Spielberg?
Just book him. We'll buy him an Uber. We'll get him some food. We'll get him food.
We'll order from this Thai place. It's good. Do it.
I mean, it's really hard to, clearly Jaws is his number one film, but then he went from Jaws to Close Encounters, which is good. It didn't live up to the hype of the level of Jaws, but I think people still remember it still stood the test of time. To me, anyway, before E.T., that was the alien movie to go to. But he did sandwich 1941 in there. What we were talking about this a few weeks ago, Twilight Zone, the movie. He actually directed the Kick the Can segment, which was pretty good, right?
Oh, on Twilight Zone.
Yeah, Twilight Zone, the
That's
movie.
right.
Yeah. You know, another movie that a lot of did he produce Cocoon?
I don't know. Possibly.
Because it has all his directing credits, his short films producing credits. Oh, that's another one, Super 8. But I mean, I guess that was pretty much...
That was Abrams.
Yeah, that was Abrams, but that was a love letter to Spielberg. He EP'd a lot of stuff, but I was trying to just... Yeah, he EP'd a lot of stuff. Dude. Cowboys and Aliens, I did not know. Real Steel, the Men in Black films, the Transformer films was him too.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a different career trajectory he took. But yeah, I guess Jaws would be the top film, and King of the Crystal Skull would be that. So do you think, honestly now, like looking at his late filmography, could he make a good Indiana Jones in 2023?
I don't think that that's the stopper. I don't think that the stopper is whether or not Spielberg could do it. I do think Spielberg can do it. I think that we're just past the point. I'm sorry, unless the movie is about Indiana Jones as a very old man, which he is. I think we're past the point of believability, you know?
And they refuse to go that direction of booking him like that. Like
I know.
Right?
I
Harrison
know.
Ford one, like, no, I'm Indiana Jones, I'm putting on the hat.
Like, did you ever see on the Indiana Jones Chronicles where it's like super old Indy and he has an eye patch and he's an old man?
Oh, yes.
Remember that episode?
Yes, I do remember that.
I just think we're the thing is, we have a bias to this and we see it through a different lens. Okay? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we were there when these movies were in theaters and we were young and like Harrison Ford was only 42. And like he was doing these films, and I just think that I'm trying to think of the comparison of another person trying to be an 80-year-old action hero. I mean, Stallone's doing it, sure, but I think we're going to see Stallone for nostalgia as well.
Right. Successfully, I guess we're looking for. Well, not that they're not successful, but it's very much in a box.
Yeah.
Like mass appeal movies.
Yeah.
This is the closest that they're attempting mass appeal.
Yeah.
That's a good point, Mike. That should be Fabelmans 2 should be later Spielberg's career. Just go in that direction.
Totally.
I mean, but you think about it, dude, like this day and age, what we know about health and what we know about like eating right and what you're drinking. What if he's doing the Wim Hof method and like he's like this, but we know he's not, of just like he's like this super like 80s the new 60. But they're not going to be doing that in this film. Like you can tell they're booking around it. I felt what you were talking about. Now that you say that in Force Awakens, on that scene when those pirates came on the ship and he threw that punch, the wrestler in me, it felt like a working punch. There was too much daylight in that punch. It felt like he couldn't throw that right punch anymore. The movie magic wasn't able to cover that up.
Yeah. I feel like it was borderline on Crystal Skull. You could definitely tell when it was a stunt man. Yeah, I just, and that's the thing is Indiana Jones, he's an adventurer. And I think they tried to set it up with Mutt where he'd have a surrogate to do adventures, somebody young, but I don't know. I'm very iffy on it. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to go down.
Well, Mike said I'd rather watch the Mummy requel, bring back Frazier and The Rock, making archaeology Fast and the Furious. That's a freaking great idea. I would pay. That would be a day.
Brendan Fraser's hot.
Bring him and The Rock. Have them. Yeah, have that on there. That would be great to see that. Along those lines, how did they book? I feel like out of all three of the Indiana Jones, the original trilogy, The Last Crusade is probably the one I watched the least as far as like over and over. How did they book Sean Connery in that? Because he was older then. Like he wasn't the one doing like the full on adventuring. He was like acting his age.
Yeah.
Which I don't think Harrison Ford's going to be doing that in this.
Well, I mean,
like maybe they should have booked him like that.
I think in that movie, Sean Connery was only like 10 years older than Harrison Ford.
Oh, like for a shoot.
Yeah, for a shoot. I don't know. I don't know what they're. I think the trailers have shown a limited amount of stuff. Like you said, we don't hear Phoebe Waller-Bridge talk very much in any of the trailers.
No,
I feel like they're hiding her. We see action, but I think everything we see is from the deepfake part, right? When it's the beginning.
Yeah, when he's younger on the train.
He's younger on the train.
What they show the horse running from the subway a lot. I mean, that's the big one that they show in the trailer.
I don't know. It's going to be hard.
Is there a chance?
The buy-in is hard.
Yeah. Is there a chance we're going to get speaking of, again, to jump, not to keep harping on Kathleen Kennedy, but we know for a fact that Obi-Wan Kenobi had a little bit of a swerve, and in his show, he wasn't the main focus in every one of his episodes, and they had another character. Is there a chance that that's what's going to happen with the Phoebe Waller-Bridge character? That it's really going to be more about her, but they're not telling you that yet?
I mean, yeah, it's possible.
And you think I think if they do that, I think that's going to backfire. The same way it backfired with Obi-Wan. That could backfire because then it's going to feel, like an agenda got pushed through there rather than an artistic choice.
Yeah, and the dirt sheet websites are going to be all over it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be done. Yeah, Mike, there you go. Clint Eastwood, gone into his 90s and perfected playing an old man. Speaking of Philo, he did that right into his 90s.
He did.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, if they did Indiana Jones 5 where he's like past archaeology and now he's a drug runner or doing some kind of job like that.
Mike said I'd watch an indie movie where he doesn't leave his porch.
I mean, yeah, that would be great because that's believable.
That would be something else. I mean, I know they were trying to figure out a way to pass the torch, but now they made it seem like they have no interest of passing the torch because can they do anything after this? Can they now have Indiana Jones presents Phoebe Waller-Bridge and the Lost Agenda?
I just don't think Indiana Jones is going to appeal to young people.
The brand, yeah.
I just don't think it's an appealing premise for the people going. He doesn't even have a phone.
Well, it's interesting you say that. You're right. And Indiana Jones hit at the right time in the 80s, that it was nostalgia for other people because it was based on 50s serials, right?
Exactly.
And then 30 years later, and then it was a film based on nostalgia in the 80s.
Right.
Right?
For the 50s.
Yes. So how is that and now we're closer to the 50s, as in the 2050s, than we are to the 80s.
Right.
So is that going to come across? Which it may not. Did they need to try to reinvent Indiana Jones like that one reinvention that they had with James Bond? To make it like, look, James Bond, he can do parkour. That's new, right?
But the thing is, James Bond is reinvented and recast every 10 years or whatever. So
yeah.
That remains. And every 10 years they recast it and they sort of change the aesthetic. And they're not doing it. This is the same. This is Harrison Ford in the same hat.
Same everything.
Since 82.
Wow. That was 82.
Yeah.
Holy cow. Could they have done that? Could they? There was talks of that happening. And then it never happened. There was even Chris Pratt is going to be the new Indiana Jones. They were talking about recasting him all the time, and then it just never happened. Would that have helped? It worked. Could they have done it and been the franchise Viagra like he was for Jurassic
I don't think so.
World?
It didn't work for Solo, so I don't think that's an option for these legacy characters.
Oh, that's another one to revisit. That one, bad timing, but yeah, it did not work.
So I don't think it would work. I think keeping him as Indiana Jones is the only way to go. It's just hopefully the movie itself is can hit the mark and just have enough fantasy, but also be grounded enough to be believable. I suspend disbelief, but it's just like, oh, man. Sometimes I can't let it go.
I know you're saying you have that one heart. Like, okay, I can't let that go. You know what's R.I.P. and it just hit me when you were saying this, and we were talking about this earlier. What is officially R.I.P.
What
we'll never see again. We'll never see an actor that we say, oh, he would be good if he played the young blank. We were talking about this earlier, how the fantasy casting of a young version, like it was a big deal when they cast River Phoenix as the young Indiana Jones. It was a big deal when they booked, oh, Ewan McGregor as a young Obi-Wan Kenobi. That's perfect. We're never going to see that again, are we? It's always going to be, no, we'll just deep fake it. There's no booking these actors as young version.
I think that's the direction they'd rather go in. But yeah.
Which sucks. Because that's how you just, I don't know. To me, it gives a chance to discover new actors, or actors that are right on the verge and then could keep a franchise going. Like Alec Guinness and Ewan McGregor is the one that just kind of sticks out in my mind of like the biggest heat that George Lucas got, when he replaced Anakin in the end of Return of the Jedi as the Force Ghost. They're like, well, why didn't you just do that with Ewan McGregor too? Because they looked similar enough that you could have found like a mishmash of it. But we're never going to, it's irrelevant now because we're just going to get deep fakes forever.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if that's going to work. Anyways, any parting thoughts before we go home here on, do you want to put a disclaimer or anything? Because next week we will be, what is that? That's your disclaimer. Did you walk away when you saw that sign?
If it goes down better than this at the Indiana Jones movie, it'll be a success.
That's what we're going to put up next week when we're talking about that. But yeah, dude, that's good. That's our go home spot. We'll just leave it at that. I forgot that you had that. That needs to be like your screensaver. You need to put that everywhere.
I was offended.
What is this world coming to that they literally single me out for not getting that? Oh man.
All right. So by the time we have a show again, we will have seen Indiana Jones and we can talk about
it. And we can talk about it. And we were toying with a gimmick for next week's show, so maybe we do like if you want to go nostalgic too, and we can talk about the 4th of July in the 80s of what movies are the one that's going to be America F yeah. Because we were in your screening room, which is fantastic by the way, and got a few minutes of Rambo, and I'm like, I'm going to get pulled in and end up watching this whole thing. So maybe we have to talk about that. But yeah, we'll be back next Monday again, right? Because we're off. It's the celebration weekend, so we'll be back next Monday. So give them hell, Indiana Jones.
All right. Until then.
See you.